This is Daniel Phone for Eat Sleep Box to Repeat. We are in Anfield of all places for the press conference for Liam Smith versus Hassan Mwakinyo. Adam, this is bound to be your doing, surely?
Well, listen, I'd like the fight actually to be on the pitch, or certainly a Liam Smith maybe a big match with Chris Eubank or something like that, or his brother Callum. That's always been the dream. Many years ago, Eddie Hearn and I met with Billy Hogan, and they want to do boxing here. And so, look, there's no doubt Paul Smith had a press conference here way back, and it's a huge boxing city as well as a football city, Liverpool. And being a big red, and Ben's a big red, then hopefully we can get something sorted down the line. But I'm sure Eddie wants to do it as well. So look, as long as something happens at Anfield at some point, I think it's a stage and a stadium made for a huge night. It's a wonderful city, the people are fabulous, and it's been a tough time recently, and I'm so pleased that Tasha and Fraser and everybody spoke so well on the dais, because sport is a great positive message, and they're role models, and let's hope that we get a terrific weekend of sport and there's some positivity back into this brilliant city.
I'll just echo what you said there with regards to Fraser and Natasha's comments, and point everyone to look at the Weapons Down, Gloves Up initiative, but we're pressed for time, so speaking of boxing, Liam Smith up against Hassan Mwakinyo, most known for his stunning upset knockout over Sam Egan a good few years ago now. Liam needs to be careful in there against Hassan on Saturday night.
Mwakinyo is hot, and he's about as hot as this weather. I can't believe how sunny it is in Liverpool today. It really is. I wore a suit because I thought a press conference first of the season. Do you know what? I should have worn t-shirt and shorts. Should still be on my holidays. Anyway, it's a fantastic main event in that it's Liam Smith's homecoming. We expect him to get through it, but it's could be torrid for 3 or 4 rounds, very torrid. And this guy's upset Egginton, as he said, that he's taken out Julius Ndongo. He's a bit of a crazy man, so let's see how Liam goes. I think Liam will have too much. He'll come through and hopefully make a statement, and then I'm sure he'll call out Chris Eubank Jr. and be hoping that he beats Conor Benn and we get that big fight, whether it's here or at the M&S Arena or somewhere. It'll be brilliant.
You mentioned the potential fight with Chris Eubank Jr. That was one that was always sort of lauded when Liam signed with Sky. Chris, obviously, as we all know, is going to fight Conor Benn now. As you mentioned up in the press conference stage, Liam's well placed with 3 of the 4 governing bodies. We imagine the world titles will sort of fragment with that Tim Tszyu, Jamel Charlo fight for Undisputed early next year. How likely is it? Well, a better way to phrase it is, which do you think is more likely, securing that big fight with Chris Eubank Jr. or maybe potentially fighting for a vacant world title 2023?
I think there's options, and as with everything in boxing, things change all the time. Who knows, Conor Benn could pull off the shock and beat Chris Eubank Jr. I see Chris as a big favourite in that fight, but we don't know. We have to wait and see, and things can change. And I think the most important thing is that Liam gets back off to a good start back home. He had a great win against Fowler. He lost in Russia on the road. He had a great win over Jesse Vargas. He needs a big performance Saturday night, and then we'll be looking at the Chris Eubank Jr. or world title fight. There's big fights ahead for Liam Smith, no doubt.
Really strong undercard as well. Adam Azim, Fraser Clark, big British title fight. Who are you looking forward to most seeing in the undercard?
We're kicking off with Dan Aziz and Shakan Pitters. That's a great fight. It's been in the melting pot. It's been talked about for a long time. Really interesting, contrasting clash of styles. Huge respect for both men. They're good talkers. They're good fighters. I think that's going to be a terrific fight. And yeah, Fraser and Adam continue, and they're 2 of our brightest stars. Fraser in the heavyweight division. I mean, he's making a name for himself as a pundit, let alone as a fighter. And of course, we know how good he was in the amateurs. He's got to take his time a little bit, get used to the pro ranks. It's very early days, but what a world awaits. The heavyweight world is the most exciting it's been in a long time. So Fraser will want to be part of that at the top level, I would say, within 12, 18 months. As for Adam Azim, he wants it now. He would fight for a world title tomorrow. We have to just to rein him in a little bit. Shane will take his time with him. Shane believes he's the best he's ever seen. And look, I think he reminds me of a young Nassim Hamed. He reminds me of a young Ricky Hatton. He's got that energy. He's got that ability to be going for opponents at this level with all sorts of angles and speed and devastation. And if he continues doing that, he's going to be a hard man to match and a hard man to stop. So look, we'll see with Adam. There's a long way to go, but I'm a believer, and I think he could become a superstar of the sport.
Just on back to Fraser Clark, you mentioned there, it's definitely a progression in terms of like the record and his opponent on Saturday, but yet again, it's another very short notice opponent. What's been the difficulty in securing opponents earlier for Fraser in camp?
Well, I think for all the Olympians, it's very tough with Karis and Lauren and Caroline as well. It's very difficult. They fought at the top level for a long time. Fraser Clark's been at the senior level as an amateur for 10 years. He's sparred the likes of AJ. He's fought the likes of Joe Joyce time and again. They're almost ready for the big fights now. So of course it's tough. Fighters, young prospects. He's got an unbeaten fighter in front of him this weekend, Fraser, who's also got ambitions of his own, but they know they're coming here and the likelihood is they'll probably lose, so it's very tough. But the key is keep the momentum, keep them fighting different styles, and let's pull the trigger a little bit earlier, because these top Olympians, you know, they've improved generation and era by era. The amateurs used to take a long time to progress. Now they've had the WSB, they've had all sorts of ways of getting the sparring, of getting to become professionals or like a professional earlier. So let's go with it.